So in this video, we're going to be discussing Indigo souls versus fallen Anunnaki. So first thing, you must understand, I'm going to explain and get straight to the point of what is fallen Anunnaki. These are beings that are like under patriarchy agendas. They spread cults, they spread patriarchy agendas. They tend to be spiritual narcissists, spiritual egos, superiority complexes. They spread division, they hate women, they tend to be abusers. They tend to hate the divine feminine. They're brought onto this planet to create separation and division and to spread their worship agendas. These tend to be like cult leaders. These tend to be like, very often like these cult leaders and the followers of these cult leaders and the followers of these gurus. And then this is also connected towards religion as well. So when you think about fallen Anunnaki, that is very, very tied to religion. Most fallen Anunnaki beings, they created religion and they created religious agendas. They created worship agendas. They create race wars as well. So like they, try and be superior over others. They create race wars. They're very heavily involved in race wars. Within the spiritual community, you see a lot of race wars. This is also because a lot of these beings and a lot of these followers and a lot of these people are actually fallen Anunnaki, and they are taken over by these spirits of the fallen Anunnaki as well. These beings tend to hijack chosen ones or conscious ones, right? So you see within the so-called conscious community, right? The fallen Anunnaki, these demonic spirits, they take over and they manipulate and they hijack people's consciousness to spread these divisions, to spread this warfare, to spread these agendas. So we're going to break this down because this is very, very common. You see even in the spiritual community, this is very, very, very common. You see like a lot of like people clashing with each other, like, these, this thirst for knowledge, like these bloodthirsty people that are like thirst for knowledge, because the fallen Anunnaki are like very, very, they're very obsessed with knowledge, but they manipulate knowledge. They're anti-unity. They're not about bringing people together. They're here to stop the ascension, actually. So the fallen Anunnaki, these beings actually stop the ascension. They're not about love. They're not about any form of light. And they tend to manipulate their darkness, because even though darkness isn't evil, they tend to manipulate their darkness and they confuse evil for their darkness. So these beings, or these people, because these people get manipulated by these beings, they go around spreading these agendas. They spread these worship. They are highly connected to, like, they love, they manipulate the ancient Egyptians as well. So for example, they are all about like manipulating the ancient Egyptians. They manipulate Greek gods as well, Hindu gods, Christian gods, all of these, right? They tend to manipulate these beings, you know what I mean? So this is why these fallen Anunnaki, right, what they'll do is they'll disguise themselves as humans, and then they will portray themselves as if they're getting the knowledge from these higher deities, but really they're getting their knowledge from their own from their own entities, from their own demons, and they mask it and manipulate and portray it as if they're getting it from these higher beings or these ascended masters, which is all a bunch of crap. And as you can see as well, this is very, very, very common. You see this is extremely common within the spiritual community, within these agendas. So we're going to break this down. We're actually going to get right into it. So the first thing as well, you must understand also about the fallen Anunnaki as well. As I mentioned, they are here to stop the ascension, but they're also here as well to not only stop the ascension, but to make sure that chosen ones and high vibrational souls don't awaken to, the fifth dimension, eighth dimension, 10th dimension. These fallen Anunnaki beings are like very low dimensional beings. They are soulless. They're absolutely soulless. So what they do is they try and bring humans down to that frequency of like that soulless energy, to try and suck your soul away, to try and suck your life away. You know what I'm saying? So once again, we're going to break this down and we're going to get right into it. So another thing to mention as well about the fallen Anunnaki, they are all about anti-unity. They're not about unity. They're not about, humans come together. They want division. They want separation. You know what I'm saying? They want racism. They do reverse racism as well. It's all over the place. You could be any race and connected to the fallen Anunnaki. You know what I mean? They're deep into like politics. They try and make spirituality like a form of politics. So, you know what I mean? The fallen Anunnaki, they are all about, fake spiritual knowledge, fake, spiritual agendas. They are all about masking their true identity, right? So this is why you see within the spiritual community as well, a lot of them are within the spiritual community. You can clearly see it. So that's why I say stay away from them. Now we're going to be discussing the Indigo souls. Now, what are the Indigo souls? The Indigo souls are the beings that vibrate on a frequency of pure love, justice, oneness, and bringing people together to awaken the masses, to awaken humanity. They are all about unity. They are on the frequency of unity consciousness. That's indigo souls or indigo starseeds. Starseeds in general, like genuine, real, pure-hearted starseeds, you know, the Lyrans, the Syrians, the Earth Angels, the Light Workers, the Empaths, you know, the clear audience, you know what I mean? Like these high vibrational beings, they're all about oneness and connection with all. Oneness and connection with all that is. So this is why I say, like, the indigo souls, they are the ones who are rebelling against the fallen Anunnaki. They are the ones who are trying to awaken humanity to come together. You know, the indigo souls, this is their soul mission. The indigo souls in their soul mission is to bring humanity together, to rebel against these patriarchal systems that the fallen Anunnaki have created. The spiritual warfare, a lot of the spiritual warfare you see on the planet came from the fallen Anunnaki and these draconians and these reptilians and these fallen angels and these fallen beings, all connected to the fallen Anunnaki. So the indigo souls are the ones who rebel against that. They're the ones who fight against that. They're the ones who are all about, like, you know, not judging others, you know, very non-judgmental people. They're all about, you know, forgiveness and oneness and connection of all. Of course, indigo souls, they're all about being human too. So you'll come across the ones that are all about, like, you know, they embrace the balance of being human, but they just know how to be genuine. You know, their heart is pure. Their intentions are pure. They are all about love, connection, peace. They're all about, they're the peacemakers. They're the peace bringers and the peacemakers. You know what I'm saying? They bring peace to humanity. They love animals. They love the earth. They love the sun. They connect to the sun. You know what I'm saying? They love nature. They're all about helping nature, helping the environment. They just know how to be human. These are the indigo souls. You know what I mean? These are the indigo souls. These are, you know what I'm saying? So indigo souls, that's their soul mission. That is their frequency. Like that's the vibration that they're on, the indigo souls. So if you're an indigo soul, you are like the participator in the ascension. You are the one to help bring the ascension. You are chosen for this ascension. You are chosen to help awaken this ascension. You are chosen to help awaken the masses and bring humanity together through this ascension. The indigo souls. So you are the ones who are against the fallen Anunnaki, these fallen systems. You know what I'm saying? You're not all about these gurus. You don't follow these gurus. You don't follow, like, you're not all about worshiping, you know. Instead, you're about honoring yourself, loving yourself. That is what a true indigo soul truly is. That's what an indigo soul is. You know, they're on their own individual journey because they understand oneness in everything. They don't judge others based on religion and this, that. No, you know, indigo souls are all about oneness and connection to all. So you're all about oneness. You have a 12th dimensional light field. You have a 12th dimensional light field, a 12th dimensional energy field. So you bring in this purity, you bring in this oneness, this crystal light codes, these crystal light codes energies, you come through. You know what I'm saying? It comes through to you. So that's the ascension. That is the ascension, Ashe. So hope you really enjoyed this video. Hope I was able to break it down, Ashe.